What's up, everybody? So we're out in the shop, and as you can tell from the title, this video is not about finishing the cable Damascus knife. Now, the whole point behind that is I have to leave for my job at the leave town, and I'm gonna be gone for a day and a half. I've got to go and pick up a travel trailer from a far distance away and drive it all the way back here. So I'm not gonna be able to work in the shop and finish that knife. Now, what I did want to do for this is actually talk to y'all for a minute about the knife that we are making for the Shop Talk Tuesday build series. Now, I've had a few people ask me something that I haven't been asked very often, and that was, what is the intended use for this knife? What is the intended use for a knife that looks like this? You know, why build it? Some of the knives that I make have intended uses. They're either going to be an EDC knife, a camp knife, or, you know, most of them EDC knives, camp knives. Some of them I'll make choppers or different things like that, or, you know, it'll be something that I'm going to use as a steak knife or something to be able to cut steak. Now, for this particular build, there wasn't a super intended use for it. You know, I drew it a while back whenever I was designing knives, and what this design is based on is this knife right here that we made a while back, and I wanted to make a larger, cooler, badass version of it, which is why you have this. So not every knife that you make has to have an intended use. You know, you don't want to be the person that's making knives that you would see in some little glass case in a gas station. You don't want to be doing some of those knives that are just ridiculous, that, you know, they're designed to where the blade comes all the way around your knuckle and you got a sharpened edge all the way back here to where you're accidentally stab yourself or something like that. Like, I see some of those knives and they're just gaudy pieces of crap, and they make no sense. They're going to end up hurting the person who's using it. It's just, you don't want to make knives like that. Knives do need to have some sort of an intended use. You want to make them so that they're not a wall hanger. You want to make it so you're not going to put it on display. You want to make it so that whenever you decide to utilize it, it does something. Now, some of y'all are going to be like, holy crap, you were making this whole entire knife to do what with it now? The most of what I'm making this knife for is, for one, I might EDC it a few days. I do EDC large knives, but this is actually going to be used to remove branches and stuff off my trees. So one of the things that I like about the shapes like this is whenever I have to go through and take down a branch or something like that, I like having this recurved area right here for that. And this is really good for doing all of those random things. It has this little hook here so that whenever you go to chop through something, it comes up and it just hooks out, hooks onto it, and chops really well. It's made from a leaf spring. It's gonna hold its edge for a long time. All of my choppers that I've done out of 5160, the leaf spring material that I use for this, have all had amazing edge retention. And this particular one right here, I've wanted something that was comfortable in the hand, that I could actually take and trim trees and bushes and things like that with, so that I'm not having to use my hatchet. I use this little yellow hatchet right here for all of that. You know, I've got saws, I've got different things that I use to trim the bushes and stuff on my property, but I wanted something that I could just seriously go through and just trim little branches that go on the bottom of the trees that stick down so that we can walk below them. I'm not a big fan of undercutting trees and raising their branches all the way up. I like my branches to be low, so I go through and I trim all those branches. And I really don't want to use the little scissor things, because using scissors that long, you get real bad hand fatigue. But something like this where I can just trim them I know it's a big knife, but I want to be able to take down some of the branches as well. So that is what this is primarily going to be used for. I know it's going to be a really cool looking knife, but whenever you're a knife maker, you can make any type of knife that you want look as badass as you want. It's your stuff, it's your materials, it's your project. So even though I'm making a knife that a lot of people would just love to have to carry with them, as in just their knife, and I'm going to be using it in the backyard to like trim branches and trees, some of y'all might be thinking, Eric, what the hell? What are you doing? That's like a showpiece knife, and you're going to cut branches with it? Absolutely, I am going to cut branches with it, because I don't make knives that are just going to sit there. I don't do that. Unless they're talking to my wife, and she's going to say, yes, you do. Because there are knives that I do have that do just sit there, but those are milestone knives that, you know, my first of those knives, you know, my first Damascus knife, my first cable Damascus knife, those particular knives I'm going to keep. I will still use them. The Damascus knife I use actually as my steak knife. I cut steak with it and everything. Because it's a steak knife style knife, and if I'm gonna cut my steak, I want to do it with that knife. It works amazingly for that, so I do use that knife for that. But I don't typically make wall hangers. I don't do that. It's not my thing. Whenever I get the other shop built, and this shop primarily becomes a vlogging space, and I take all the tools out of here and they go into the other one, and I completely redo this shop. This whole back wall right here will be dedicated to the builds that I've made. I am going to do shelving on here, and I am going to have my builds that I keep that are my collection pieces that I still EDC. They will go right here, and I'll choose what I'm going to EDC that day. So long story short, people ask me what the intended purpose of this knife was. That was it. It was to be able to do those particular things with this. This is not a giveaway knife. I'm not doing a giveaway knife for this one. The next giveaway knife is going to be a Damascus knife, and we're doing that at 50,000 subscribers. So I've wanted to make this knife for a while. I've EDC'd the other knife, this one right here. I've EDC'd this one many times. Enough that I've redone the edge on it twice. So who knows? I might EDC this one a few times. I might not. I might just use it in the backyard. But again, just because you make a knife does not mean it has to have a super intended purpose. Just whatever you do, don't make a knife that makes no sense. Unless you intended for it to make no sense, I guess. Well, guys, that's it. So that's the end of this one. I pretty much just want to hop on here and talk about that for a second and actually answer a question that I haven't been asked for a while, and that was it. Now, Sunday we will have the finishing of the knife, of the cable Damascus knife. We will have that. As soon as I get back in town, I'm going to go ahead and start working on it, finish it up, get the film all edited so that I can release that. Hopefully it won't be as hot as it was today, because right now I'm sweating out in my shop, but we'll see how it goes. Guys, thank y'all for coming by. If y'all would, give this video a thumbs up, share this video or one of my other videos. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there. I'll catch y'all next time.